In Warhammer 40k, the Land Raider is an iconic vehicle. And if you play Space Marines, you definitely want to have one of these available to you, if nothing else, but to look cool behind your army. It's just one of those cool tanks in the game that everybody loves. But what about if you're a Chaos Space Marine player? Someone like me, a bit of a traitor. Well, whilst the Chaos Land Raider looks kinda cool, I think it could look a little bit better. For years and years, I've wanted to get my hands on my own Chaos Land Raider, and I decided that actually there was probably a cooler way to do this. Enter Land Raider Proteus from the Horus Heresy. Now, I'm fairly new back into the game. I took a big break, so I wasn't sure whether this was something I could do. However, the general consensus is you're allowed to do it, and anyone who says no is just being a bit of a dick. So, I picked one up. I couldn't wait any longer, but I noticed it was just missing a little something. A little bit of flavour, a little bit of spice. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to convert my Land Raider Proteus so that it's fit to play its part in letting the galaxy burn. Hey viewers, welcome to the channel. My name is Joe, aka Rufio. Now just before we get started, if you are someone who is familiar with the channel, you'll probably be wondering what the fuck is going on. What is this Warhammer content? Well, you're probably a little bit more familiar with my Yu-Gi-Oh content than this. The reality is this is the hobby that takes up most of my time now. Yu-Gi-Oh is one of those things that I mostly go to events for, or just to go and see the lads. And whilst I still love the game, Warhammer takes most of the time up that I have spare. So there's going to be a slew of Warhammer videos coming in future. Now, if you're someone who's not been here before, well, that's kind of a little bit about me. I'm a reasonably well-established Yu-Gi-Tuber, as we call them, and someone who, moving forward, is planning to make much more Warhammer content. So if you're interested in that, definitely hit subscribe, maybe even the notification bell if you want to make sure you don't miss out. But I digress, let's get stuck into the video, because that's what you're here for. So as explained, I wanted to get myself a Land Raider for my Chaos army, and this looked like the perfect fit. So I built this bad boy up, but I need to do something to spice it up a little bit. Enter the Land Raider Proteus here. So we take a look, this is the model that I have built. It is more or less finished to the kind of standards that you would have. Obviously it is not painted or anything like that yet, but I've still got some bits I want to do to make this look real chaosy. Now for anyone wondering if this kit is fun, it is absolutely awesome to make. It took me maybe 2-3 hours to build in a couple of sessions. Again, took a little while. Some of the bits didn't fit perfectly, so took a little bit of welly, or, you know, there's maybe 1 or 2 tiny gaps, but for the most part, it was pretty straightforward. Much easier to build than a lot of the older tanks I found from experience. But again, just a really cool kit, but again, it's missing just that little bit of something. Now, there are a few ways that you can achieve making this look like a Chaos model. The obvious one is things like spikes. Now, if you're someone who's been playing this army for a little while, you may well have those kicking around, particularly if you've had other vehicles already. If you're someone who wants to go out and buy those, you can find them on the likes of eBay, which is exactly what I've done for today's video. Though they can get a little bit pricey, and sometimes it's actually just worth spending the extra to buy another vehicle and use the spare parts from that instead. If you're someone who wants to do this on a budget, things like cocktail sticks can make really good options for some really convincing looking spikes if painted well. Personally, I didn't have any cocktail sticks and I was too lazy to go get some, so I just ordered some parts from eBay instead. So this is what I managed to get my hands on here. A couple of sprues left over from a Chaos Rhino, which has got some really cool bits on there that I'll definitely be taking advantage of, and it'll probably leave me some spares for future vehicles as well. As it happens, I think the Horus Heresy vehicles are way cooler than the 40k ones, so I'm planning on converting a few more of these. So those extra spikes, they'll definitely come in handy. I also just didn't want to do spikes as well. So I picked up some of these as well to make use of. This is actually for another project entirely, which I'll cover towards the end of the video and talk to you a little bit what that is. But yeah, these are going to be used for that as well. But I thought they might come in handy for this as well. Now, one thing that is worth noting is that the way that the tracks run on these mean that there's not a whole lot of real estate to stick things on to make them look really chaosy. We're going to have to take advantage of these ridges along here, potentially these plates here, along the top here. And of course, you can use the front here, depending on how you build this out. Perhaps there's some room at the back here where we can put some skulls and things like that. Now, because I'm lazy, I'm probably going to go ahead and just get stuck straight into this thing. However, if you're someone who wants to work with a little bit more caution, you may want to employ something like blue tack to be able to stick the parts onto here so you can see what they look like before committing to it. Personally, I'll just be cutting them up, sticking them on, and having a look at how it goes. And then, of course, applying the glue once I've decided. So let's snip some sprues, get some parts off that we're looking to make use of, and see how they look on this vehicle before we glue them on. Okay, so here they are. Our parts are now cut down, filed down, whatever we need to do. So I've had to do little bits along the bottom here just to make them smooth enough that they're going to sit closely and fine. So I've got 2 lots of spikes here which I'll be mounted along the top. I've got these 2 which I don't really know where they're going to go, potentially on those plates that go towards the front, and I don't know whether I'm going to stick them out sideways or over the top. We'll find out when it gets there. I've got some little hooky bits and things like that which are kind of cool. I've got some chains to just add a little bit of, well, chains because they look awesome anyway. And of course, if I could pick the damn thing up, we've got a little symbol of Chaos Undivided since I run Black Legion, so that'll need to go on the front, obviously. Now, I don't have yet is any skulls, so I'll get to snip into those as well, but at least we've got our spikes and things for now. Now let's work on those skulls. Okay, so time to start plotting where we want to put some of these bits. Okay, so let's take a look. So again, I think that we're probably going to do something like these on here. Maybe like this, I'm not sure. I need to find a better way to make them sit a little bit more flush. Perhaps we could do it sideways like this, I'm not too sure. Again, we're going to wait and see. I mean, I might not make use of all of these parts, it's just an idea, but something like this probably works for me. Of course, I would make sense that these spikes are likely to go up here. I just need to make sure they don't hinder the tracks at all when they go on. These, I suspect, the little chains and bits will just go on the side here somewhere. Again, we'll find a good spot for those. The hooks will be very much the same sort of thing. And then I'm planning to put this on the front here, on the hull, just so that it's the symbol's right at the front, you know, really selling what we're going for. And as for the skulls, these are kind of just going to go in pockets, probably in some of these grooves, maybe along the top here, maybe in here, along the back, that kind of thing. But again, if you're a smarter man than me and you have the time and effort, and I'm too lazy to do it, then probably putting a little bit of blue tack down, sticking those bits on and seeing how they look before you do it is probably a good idea. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm probably just going to commit to it and hope it looks good at the end. The other thing is I don't know if blue tack will interfere with primer, so just be aware of that. Maybe don't put too much on there in case it leaves any like greasy residue or anything like that, although that's pure speculation from my part. Maybe people out there will know better than I. All of the blue tack I use is normally just for heads and backpacks, so I can take those off after I've primed, and those are for hidden parts, so they never come up. But yeah, so we're going to get stuck into it, and then I'm going to bring you the finished product. So viewers, here it is, the finished article. There is still some glue drying on here, hence all the shininess. I definitely had some spills just getting towards the end of my glue, and it absolutely just blew out all over the front here, which was amazing, hence all the glue kicking around here. Great stuff, I love when that happens. But as you can see, we've employed some skulls on here, the likes of here. We put those spikes over the top. I made it so that I could still turn these off by going this way round. So if I want to take those off while I paint, that's going to be helpful. We've got some of those little hooks kicking about, some spikes on the side. I did have to be careful to steer clear of the tracks, as you can see from the top. They get very close, particularly on this side with their helmet, but it's what it is. We've got a skull at the back here, which worked quite nicely, I think. And onto the other side here, we've got a little skull towards the back, just resting on there. Some of the hooks, chains, those are those spikes that we were showing you. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm quite happy with how this has turned out. Some of it was a little bit trickier than I thought, and I probably should have employed some tweezers at some point because it was actually quite difficult getting some of these bits into place, particularly like these hooks here, getting those onto the side because there's not really a good angle, especially when you've got sausage fingers like me. So maybe some tweezers, stuff I place in the skulls, a little bit easier definitely with those, so I'd highly recommend if you're looking to do that as well. So as for what's next on the channel, well, maybe there might be a few bits in between, but the next model video I'm planning to do will be surrounding this little chappy here. I saw this online. This is the really old Angron for anyone that's not familiar. This is Angron from the old Epic. I just thought this was absolutely awesome, and I really want to do something quite cool with it. And that's what all of these skulls are going to be for. So I'll give you a little hint as to where it's going. If you've seen that really cool, Demon Prince that people have done with a Nurglin on the top, yeah, we're going for something similar to that, and we're going to scale him up to 40k size Angron. So hopefully have some fun with that. It's going to be a really cool little project, a lot of foam, a lot of skulls are going to be involved. It's going to take a little while. I'm hoping to do a little video on it as well. So if there is demand for that, definitely let me know down in the comments. Make sure you subscribe. Let me know that that's what you're waiting for, and that'll encourage me to get the foam and bits I need to get cracking with that project ASAP. And that, viewers, is it for today. My first ever video covering one of my models. Definitely not painting, because I'm absolutely not there with quality. But I wanted to show you a little bit about what I've done to convert my Land Raider Proteus. This is something I hadn't really seen many videos on, so I wanted to give you some ideas on what you might be able to do for your own conversions. Now, if this is something you've enjoyed, definitely let me know down in the comments. If there's something you might have done differently, let me know that too. And hopefully you've enjoyed it enough to hit subscribe so you can view my future Warhammer content as and when it comes up. But there will be more Warhammer content. Definitely stick around for it. Let me know the kind of things that you'd like to see. If you're looking for any more chaos stuff, definitely let me know, because I'm building up that army, so I'm buying plenty of it over time. So that gives me plenty of reasons to go out and get more. Anyway, viewers, that's all from me today. Thank you very much for coming along. I do appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next one.